wins his third Royal Rumble match in his career, tying Stone Cold Steve Austin at 3 Royal Rumbles apiece. Then he goes from winning the Royal Rumble to choosing to face the WWE Champion in a main event for the title at WrestleMania 30. That fits perfectly with WrestleMania 30. John Cena riding in on the white horse to save the day after a great depression has been over the heads of John Cena fans for a number of months. Some Randy Orton fans are enjoying the idea of Randy Orton being champion. Randy Orton's on top of the world, while John Cena fans are undergoing the Great Depression. I'm choosing to look at this from the point of view of a reprieve. I mean, it's been all about John Cena ever since at least the culmination of 2013, similar to how it's been all about Alberto Del Rio since the culmination of 2013 when he won the World Heavyweight Championship on the very first edition of SmackDown earlier this year. It's been all about Alberto Del Rio on one side of the coin, and on the other side of the coin it's been all about John Cena and The Rock as WWE Champion, as the two of them jock for position. So with Randy Orton now as the WWE Champion, at least we don't have to put up with him always losing all the time to new talent, initiative superstars, which is a huge plus for Randy Orton fans who have been feeling very frustrated over the past number of months. If Randy Orton was in a championship match where he was losing, he was always losing to new talent, initiative superstars like Fandango, and that really is unacceptable for a talent like Randy Orton. If John Cena wins 50 out of 60 matches all the time, why can't Randy Orton win up to 30 of 50 matches that he has over the course of maybe 5 to 6 months? If Randy Orton isn't losing in championship matches, he's losing to some superstar who isn't even on his level. And I know it's with the purpose of putting over the new talent initiative, but really Randy Orton has exemplified so much tremendous work ethic. I mean, he's really being rewarded by being given the WWE title. Many of you, perhaps at least 85% of you, may not agree with the way that he won his 10th WWE title, and it will not be remembered as his most memorable and biggest WWE title win by the way that he won it after he capitalized on an opportunity that was presented to him by the COO of the company, who was the special referee for Cena and Bryan at SummerSlam, capitalizing on Triple H's pedigree to Daniel Bryan. I mean, it would have been a great match if Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton would have had an honorable match for the WWE title, or if Randy Orton would have cashed in prior to Cena and Bryan's match at SummerSlam, changing it from a one-on-one match to a three-way with Triple H as the special guest referee. You could have the screw job happen at some point in the match. I don't really agree with how Randy Orton won the championship, but you can't say that he doesn't deserve it after waiting 2.5 years to win a championship. The last time we saw him as a champion in WWE, you got to go back to 2011 and his feud with Christian over the World Championship. It wasn't a lengthy reign, but that was the last time we saw Randy Orton as either WWE or World Champion, and statistically we haven't seen Randy Orton as WWE Champion since at least 2009, for the better part of the last 4.5 years. Randy Orton's had an absence when it comes to the WWE title. That one championship has eluded him for the last 4.5 years, pretty much almost half of a decade. So it's about damn time that Randy Orton wins the WWE title, and I haven't always been a Randy Orton fan. There have been times when I've been covering professional wrestling that I've been very disgusted with how Randy Orton has perceived his character and image in the WWE. That was only recently that I was disgusted with Randy Orton. It's only been for the better part of the last 3 or 4 years that I've been a huge supporter of Randy Orton, and that might turn to dismay over the next couple of months as his storyline progresses with John Cena being absent from the WWE. I mean, I've always hated Randy Orton. There's been a time in my life when I've liked Randy Orton, and now I'm just in a point of approvalness of Randy Orton being WWE Champion because I've been wanting a reprieve, and I've been preaching this for the past number of months. They had to do something beneficiary for Randy Orton, and obviously this is what's beneficiary for Randy Orton in the minds of WWE creative. They've done everything with Randy Orton's character in the way of having him as a fan favorite and a heel. He's kind of had a switch that's been flipped for the past number of years. For so many months he's a fan favorite, for so many months he's a heel character. I mean, no matter what way you want to look at Randy Orton's character, it's always been fun to watch Randy Orton. This goes a long way in making his character that much more unpredictable and fun to watch. Nobody knows what Randy Orton's going to do from one minute to the next, and it's kind of ironic how Randy Orton's aligned himself with the McMahons, the same people who he was actually against in 2009 when he was a heel character, because he believed himself and Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase were being held back when they were Legacy in 2009, and Legacy were the tag team champions. Of course, Randy Orton was the WWE champion. It's kind of funny how Randy Orton's aligned himself with people that he actually hated 4 years ago. That's not even 5 years ago, half of a decade. And he's aligned with them now, so it makes the storylines on Raw a little bit more interesting. And now having all the McMahons and Triple H on the same page, and Triple H being a heel character for the first time in what feels like forever since the early thousands, at least, it's going to be a whole lot of fun to see what direction WWE storylines head in now as the fallout from SummerSlam continues to be taken in over the next couple of weeks. And in conjunction with everything that's happening as part of the fallout of SummerSlam, we are asking you for your opinion about what happened at SummerSlam. You can tell us on Facebook at facebook.com/HW Entertainment, on Twitter at Jonathan Clarke1, and on YouTube at youtube.com/Jonathan Clarke22. For years, Randy Orton was under the tutelage of Triple H during their days of evolution in 2003, 2004, and Triple H and Randy Orton had a pretty interesting promo at the beginning of Raw this past Monday. Randy Orton said that wrestling fans should stand up and thank Triple H for what he did to ensure the success of the company for the next 25 years. He said that they should show respect for someone who knows what good business is. And obviously Triple H believes that Randy Orton is what good business is, and that's who will ensure the success of the WWE for the next 25 years. But as a wrestling fan, from that point of view, do you think that having Randy Orton as the WWE Champion will ensure the success of the business for the next 25 years, the next quarter of a century? You can let me know on Facebook, on Twitter with a creative hashtag, and on YouTube you can drop us a few comments for this week's video distribution at youtube.com/Jonathan Clarke22. I've had the chance of watching Randy Orton on television for a number of years. I've had the chance of seeing him wrestle on more than one occasion for both SmackDown and Raw tours. It's been so much fun. No matter if he's a heel or a fan favorite, you can't help but really get in to the character of Randy Orton. He's one of the best on the microphone. He's one of the best that they've used creatively over the past number of years, and you couldn't have promoted the new talent initiative any more effectively than by having Randy Orton losing all the time. The new talent initiative superstars like Wade Barrett really appreciated that feud from 2011-2012, and I appreciate it even more now that Randy Orton is the captain of the WWE. The Raw Super Shows and Friday Night SmackDown tapings with John Cena gone, kind of similar to how in 2007, when John Cena ended his 13-month reign as WWE Champion, Randy Orton comes in and fills the vacancy of the WWE title. It's almost as if history is repeating itself, but it's repeating itself far more effectively than what it was in 2007, 2008, because this could be one of the biggest reigns that Randy Orton will ever have as WWE Champion. I often wonder what his father, Cowboy Bob Orton, has to say about Randy Orton being a 10-time WWE Champion. This was long overdue, in my opinion, and probably in the minds of a lot of other radio shows and columnists and wrestling fans. Randy Orton fans have got to be loving the idea of Randy Orton being WWE Champion. You're basking in the glory of the Legend Killer finally reascending to the top of the WWE, while John Cena fans go through a period of great depression. And I really feel for John Cena fans, and you're probably saying to yourself, fuck you, Jonathan, you don't like John Cena. You've said on this radio show on a public forum that you don't like John Cena, and I will admit to you that I have never really liked John Cena. In the earlier years of his career, I have approved of what John Cena did when he was a heel character, when he was feuding with the likes of Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker as a heel that nobody could stand. I loved how John Cena would come out and insult his opponents prior to a match, and then he would defeat his opponents by sometimes cheating and sometimes defeating them fairly, and then he would earn the respect of wrestling fans. When the C Nation kicked off in 2005 at WrestleMania 21 with John Cena's inaugural WWE title reign, I began to detest John Cena, and I've detested him ever since. And I think that with him gone now from the WWE, questioning whether or not he'll return because of how he's disgusted with how the McMahons treated Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam after he had won the WWE title, I think that with him gone now, we've gotten the reprieve that we've been asking for the past number of months. I don't entirely detest John Cena because I think he does a world of good for the WWE, especially outside of it when it comes to media appearances, promoting something influential like the cancer campaign they had for breast cancer a while back in the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I love how John Cena has granted more wishes than any WWE superstar over the last 30, 35 years. That is an accomplishment that is truly unprecedented. I'm not knocking John Cena for that, but it's the same old shit all the time, as the familiar chant phrases itself with John Cena. He comes out, he does the five-knuckle shuffle, he always talks to the camera prior to making his run down through the ramp. I mean, it's terrible how the same thing repeats itself week after week after week. I'm a fan of 1995, 1996 wrestling when Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Goldust, and Ahmed Johnson were the top names in the WWE, and kill me if you want to over that fact, but I've always been a fan of early 1990s wrestling, and having John Cena as the WWE Champion is not an effective way of promoting the WWE. He's similar to Hulk Hogan in a lot of ways, because in 1991, it was all about Hulk Hogan. At the Royal Rumble, right through the Survivor Series, it was always about Hulk Hogan. If Hulk Hogan wasn't one of the final two in the Royal Rumble, he was on a Survivor Series team and he was the captain of it. And John Cena's gimmick kind of is similar to that in a lot of ways, and it makes me sick. We need a reprieve, and Randy Orton is that reprieve. Randy Orton is our Messiah that we've been asking for seemingly forever, and Randy Orton could have up to a 6-month reign as WWE Champion, probably only because of this injury John Cena is suffering from right now, having fluid drained off of his elbow, which is a major injury to rebound off of. One of the most serious injuries John Cena has ever had, apart from having his neck broke in 2008 by Dave Bautista in that unforgettable SummerSlam match, which a video of can be seen in our imagery form by clicking on videos in our imagery form section of our website. I mean, John Cena's had far more serious injuries than this one, but it is one of the top serious injuries that he's gone through over the past 10 or 11 years, and it's going to be very difficult for him to go through the rehab process and rehabilitate quicker than any other injury that he's had. So Randy Orton has a lot of responsibility now as WWE Champion, and hopefully Triple H and the McMahons, who he's previously worked with in the past, for the past 4 or 5 years, will benefit him. This is the first creative thing that you've done with Randy Orton in seemingly forever. The feud with Kane in 2012 went absolutely nowhere. It could have gone farther. That was probably the most interesting thing that they did with Randy Orton for WrestleMania 28 and Extreme Rules. The Falls Count Anywhere match with Kane was one of my favorite feuds that Randy Orton had outside of challenging for a major championship. They finally give him the Money in the Bank briefcase for the first time in his career, and his 10th reign comes at SummerSlam just a few weeks after he obtained the briefcase, cashing in quicker than probably half of the men who have held the Raw Money in the Bank briefcase, with the exception of probably John Cena, who cashed it in a week prior to challenging CM Punk for the title on Raw 1000. John Cena was probably the quickest one to cash in the Raw Money in the Bank briefcase, apart from the World one that was cashed in on the same night. When Kane won it back in 2010, he cashes it in on Rey Mysterio and wins the title within 90 seconds of cashing it in. The fastest one to cash in the WWE title one was probably Randy Orton, but at least Randy Orton paid dividends by winning the WWE title, and Randy Orton fans have got to be loving the fact that Randy Orton is finally having something beneficial done with his character. You may not agree with how he did it, but Randy Orton is the WWE Champion at the end of the day, and really there is no really arguing or disputing the idea of Randy Orton being WWE Champion. Like him or not, Randy Orton is your current champion, and he'll be that way for the next 5 or 6 months, because really there's no one statistically in a position other than Daniel Bryan to take the title away from Randy Orton. And right now, with John Cena out on injury, Randy Orton's really the only candidate that can fill the void of a WWE Champion who is probably as popular as what Randy Orton or John Cena really was. I'm enjoying the idea of Randy Orton being WWE Champion. What makes me sick is the idea of wrestling fans believing that this was a screw job when it comes to the championship match at SummerSlam, because it was far from a screw job. It wasn't as bad as what they did to Bret Hart. I mean, give me a break. I mean, fans and wrestlers are describing it on WWE.com as one of the biggest